Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Marzena Kołaczek, I'm Knitwear designer. Today I would like to share some fails of mine. I hope it will encourage you to not be too bothered by your mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes and everybody fails sometimes. If we want to progress, if we want to gather some experience, we just need to leave our comfort zone. And every time when you leave your comfort zone, you can fail. That's normal. That's absolutely normal. There is nothing to be ashamed of. My point of view is simple. If I fail trying to do something, it's much better than just not take any attempt to do like some new things in your life. I think that only proves that you are creative, you want to develop, you want to progress, you want to learn new things. So failing is actually just a part of the process. I'm designing for almost 14 years or even more, I don't remember now. And of course, I did so many mistakes and so many fails. Sometimes they are very painful, sometimes very funny. So today I will share some of them with you. It's gonna be mostly about my designing. I am not gonna share all the fails before I started being a knitwear designer. It's just too much to talk. So I will focus only on my designing fails today. So let's start. So the first one is Posy cardigan. I really like this design, super cute, super romantic, and I know that lots of you also love this because it's feminine and it fits perfectly with skirts and dresses. And the idea for this design was exactly what you can see in the pictures. So that there is a short lace, longer lace, short lace, and every second one is short, every second one is longer. And it's the same on the bottom, but like the opposite, they alternate differently. So it's like the short one is on the top and the long one is on the bottom. So you can see these waves, corresponding waves. And the same is, of course, on the back. And I also knew that the patterns should also look amazing on the shoulder line. So perfect match. And that was my goal. But for some reason, because of the amount of the features and amount of the details in this project, I forgot to design this the way that it looks nice on the shoulder line. I started test knitting being super confident about the pattern I made because I always want to deliver a finished and polished pattern for my tester. I don't like send like chaotic notes and tell my testers that they actually kind of have to figure out what to do next. It must be exactly the same as for sales, of course, with some potential mistakes or typos. So at the very beginning, I'm so glad it was just a beginning because otherwise I will be devastated that I made people knit something which was incorrect. And so yeah, at the very beginning, one of the testers told me that there is something bizarre on the shoulder line and it doesn't look nice, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And I made the front lace perfect, but the back one for some reason was like moved like maybe half of the pattern on the right, so it wasn't matching each other, so it didn't look nice and I was extremely stressed. I just cannot imagine how people that, oh, that's nothing, that's knitting. No, this is their time, their effort, and I always respect that. So hopefully they were not angry with me. They finished the projects on time, very satisfied with the results, so hopefully they don't remember that, but now I'm kind of remind them. The second one, I think the most painful one, was Melanie sweater, which, by the way, you can download for free from my page and my Ravelry store. What are you still doing here? Just go there and download your own copy. I had a very specific idea for this design. I wanted to be like very small, not fitted, but small pullover with this very chubby collar, also very casual and minimalistic. It was years ago when I designed this sweater, probably over 10 years ago. I think that was before my wedding, yes, so 10 years. It was the beginning of my designing, and I think I made a swatch, but I'm not sure if I washed it. Yes. So I picked up the stitches for size 2. I was so excited because every time when I tried on, it was perfect. The shape, the length, the collar was super chubby and so like high on my neck. And then I was extremely excited to take it with me to my honeymoon, to take pictures of this design there in Slovenia. So I washed it like 2 or 3 days before our trip. And that was over because it changed the size drastically from size 2. I think I went to size 4 or 5. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. No, it was a disaster. It looked like a very overstretched, oversized sweater. The collar was around my collarbones, like over here. Sleeves were super long, even though I planned them to have like a maybe slightly below elbow. And that was devastating. And I made it from amazing yarn. Probably I will butcher the name. This yarn is made by Julia Sloan from Canada, and I was selling her yarns, and I absolutely loved their bases. I didn't have more of this yarn, and I was devastated because that was such a beautiful pink shade. That's such a beautiful yarn. Everything was made from mohair, and I was really excited about wearing this sweater. Everything was like gone, you know. I had 2 options. I could just forget about it or frog everything and start over again. This time knowing exactly what is the swatch, obviously, because now everything is washed, so I could calculate and do the 2 sizes smaller. So learn the lessons right now. Don't ignore the swatches. It's not worth it. It's your precious time when you work on some projects, and sometimes it takes even 2 months to finish the sweater, so please do the swatch. Swatch takes like 20 minutes to finish. Block it properly and then you can cast on without actually risking anything. So yeah, don't do what I did. Especially when you do this for work and you want to sell this pattern as soon as possible. So yeah, but as I said, now you can download it for free, so go and do this. Every time when you like the design or download the design, even if it's free, from my website, you are helping me a lot. And if you want to help me a bit more, please subscribe to this channel and like this video if you like it, of course. And if you can also leave a comment, it will mean a world to me. Okay, that was my second fail, and now more like a almost fail or almost mistake. And it's actually the same for 2 designs of mine. Priscilla cardigan and sea salt tank. I'm just wondering if you can notice what this can be about. When I was designing Priscilla, that was my first such an intricate design, like lots of lace, actually only lace and some small cables. I was a bit tired because though designing such sweater is very demanding, and at the very end, when the only placket left, I tried to do the planned scalloped edge as in the original sample, and I failed. I made this scalloped edge and it didn't look nice. If I remember correctly, I didn't pick up the correct number of stitches. It was way too little, and I'm not sure if you can hear the dog walking here. He will probably join me in a few seconds. Yes, he is joining me. So say hi to Richie. Hey! Okay. Now it's our video. So yeah, I picked up not enough stitches and it looked very, very bad. So this is another thing how difficult is designing, because sometimes you just need to guess how much you need to pick up. Sometimes you just need math, sometimes both. And at this time, probably because I was tired, I didn't do my math and I picked up not enough stitches. And it didn't look nice, and I almost gave up. Like literally, I was okay. I think this design is intricate enough. I will just finish it with a very, very plain placket. And I almost picked up the stitches, and then my husband came and asked me about this design, and I told him, oh, I think I will resign from this scalloped edge because I think it's not a good idea. And he said, no, I think you shouldn't. I think you should keep this idea because it sounds super cool. So I gave myself like a time, I think 1 day of break just from this project, just to breathe a bit. And then I start again. starting with some muff, of course, and then I picked up the stitches, and after finishing a few scallops, I knew that's absolutely stunning, and I'm so happy that I have such a supportive husband who always is very interested in my projects, no matter if it's sewing or it's knitting. He always wants to check up and see what I'm doing right now, and he's always happy to share his opinion. And why this whole tag is actually kind of the same. I was knitting this design when I was painfully injured. It was the beginning of my current injury, but the very first stage, so it was very, very painful. I didn't know if I have strength for that. It's made bottom up, and I'm a fan of top-down projects, but in this case, if I wanted to make this scalloped edge in a stitch tag, it was necessary to start from the bottom. I was struggling because I was in pain. I was trying to make it a bit easier for me, and I was like, oh, maybe I will just do the very basic, very minimalistic top, just this fun pattern over here, nothing crazy on the bottom, so I can start from the top. It's gonna be easier. And I sent some swatches, the pictures of my swatches, to my knitting friend, and she told me, oh, absolutely, you need to keep this scalloped edge. And I was like, okay, this is such a good thing that I asked, because sometimes you just don't know actually how people will react. We just never know if your project will be like. This is how those two designs almost failed. Probably they would be still very nice, but I'm so proud of both of them. And this charming little like a scalloped edge is like doing its job. Okay, the last one. And this is not a design of mine yet, but it's actually funny. I started working on my husband's next pullover, and I used a very beautiful tweed yarn, and I was so excited because the yarn is so beautiful, and I found a beautiful textural stitch pattern for him, and well, I started this design, and I was also working on my lyrebird at the same time. That was very unusual for me to have two projects on my needles. I just wanted something more easy to make and something more complicated. Depends on the mood, to be honest, and like level of focus I have at this very particular moment. And I finished the lyrebird, so I was like happy to start working fully on this jumper for my husband. I even gave it a name, Echidna sweater. Echidna is an Australian native animal. And because of my ongoing injury, I developed another injury on my shoulders, and I had to stop knitting, which was very painful. Yeah, this is the topic for a different video. And I couldn't finish this sweater. Then I actually wanted to come back to it after like months. I think I had like a half of a yoke, maybe, something like the mid-chest length. I asked him to try this sweater, and it was way too small. Even though it was perfect when I started knitting it, and my husband trained a lot during this time, and he became bigger in his chest. So this is why I think finishing your projects as soon as possible is a very good idea. Just don't start something and then put it away for months, because you never know. You can change your mind, you can change your liking, you can change your body. That's absolutely normal, and then it's a kind of like waste of time. So I believe it's better just to pick up the project and just work on it. Maybe 2 or 3 projects at the same time, but not like thousands. I know some of you are doing that, and whatever makes you happy. Remember that. That was very painful, so I had to frog everything, and I'm not sure if I have heart right now to start it all over again, but 2 sizes bigger, so probably I will just make a different one and different project from this yarn. But yeah, what can I say? By the way, this is not my dog. I'm just his auntie and puppy sitting for him for 2 weeks, and I love him so much. Okay, I have an extra story for you. This is before I started design sweaters for sale. I wanted to just create my own designs, and I was also trying different techniques. Now I know that my thing is lace, but before that I was trying everything. I was working on a very bizarre project. Now I know that. It was like a white cotton blouse with a geometrical shaped heart, which was like black and white. So imagine the heart and all the patterns, small patterns inside of this heart was like black and white, and all these shapes were like squares, triangles, different shapes, like kind of random, to be honest. And I was a bit excited about this project. I thought it's a brilliant idea. Maybe it would be if I know exactly how to do color work, but I didn't. So it wasn't perfect, but still, I was learning, that's fine. Until I went to the beach one day, and I was talking to one lady, which is friend of my family, and I think I was already in the middle of the heart section, so it wasn't like a full heart, but I already finished this curved shape of the top part of the heart, and this lady was like checking my project, asking some questions, blah blah. And then a few days later, I met her again, and she asked me, Marzena, how is your knitting project? This one with this black and white skull on the chest. A skull. So at this moment, for some reason, I got very embarrassed, you know, like then I realized maybe color work is not my thing. Maybe it's not my strength. Probably I should finish it, but in this moment, I just realized that actually, it doesn't look well, but for some reason I was very, very ashamed of this project. I shouldn't be ashamed. That was just the beginning of my journey, right? But still, the skull and the heart, that's a huge difference, Marzena. You should know that. Please share your stories in the comments. Tell me what funny mistake or fails you made, or maybe tell me which mistake actually taught you a lot, and I would be very happy to read them. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'm so happy you are here. Bye!